Morning, Sairaj Kumar.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Patel Dev Kumar.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so I've started the live stream and I hope my screen is visible to you as well. The live
Yes,
stream
sir.
is available in the link that I have mentioned in the chat. Can someone check whether the audio and the video is fine in the live stream?
Yes, sir, it is fine.
Okay. Good morning, Dasti Jashwant Reddy, Pavan Kalyan, Rishitej Yadav, Shabavat Rakesh Naik, and Yashdeep.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so we were discussing about PHP yesterday, and I just described to you about hosting yesterday. And hosting means that we have to have some resource like a computer that is connected to the internet, and on that computer you should have software that is running, and that is called server software. Okay, and we discussed about the Apache web server. Okay, and then we also discussed about the server side scripting programming languages, and PHP is one of the server side scripting programming languages. Okay, so when we were discussing about PHP and Apache and all of these things, we wanted to figure out what is each thing. Okay, so let me just show you quickly. Yeah. Okay, so I hope my terminal screen is visible to you. So yesterday I logged into the institute web server, okay, through SSH. Okay, so I'm just going to do that again, and I'm going to go to a particular folder where the Apache configuration files are actually placed. Okay, so I will go to this folder called etc apache 2. Okay, and over there is some site called sites. There's a folder called sites available. Okay, and I just do an ls over there. You can see that there are in fact multiple sites that I have configured for this particular web server. Okay, and these tilde files are just backup files. So the files which end with a tilde at the end of the file name, those are backup files, so you can omit that. This is the actual file. Okay, so we have something called convocation.tripleitt.ac.in. then we have something called dev.tripleitt.ac.in. okay, so I'm just going to go to, let's say, dev.tripleitt.ac.in. okay, so if I try to go to that website, again it will load a particular page that is going to show for Indian Institute of Information Technology, Tiruchirappalli. And as you can probably guess, this is just a dev website which has been undergoing development for some time now, and the development cycle has been stalled for the time being. Okay, so that's one thing. And if I go to convocation.tripleitt.ac.in, okay, it will show me that this particular page is probably service is unavailable. Okay, the server is temporarily unavailable to service your request due to maintenance downtime or capacity problems. Please try again later. and it says Apache 2.4.38 on a Debian, okay, server at convocation.IIT.ac.in on port number 80. So that is what we were trying to access, because we know that an HTTP protocol will access the will get the service from the port number 80. Okay, that's the standard port. There can be non-standard ports as well. For example, right now, like if I go to moodle.IIT.ac.in, right, you can see that on the configuration files, you can see that there is a file for moodle.IIT.ac.in .conf as well. Now, if I go to moodle.IIT.ac.in, you can see that it contains a lock on the address bar, and if you look at this, click on this lock, right, you will see that this means that this is a connection, this is a secure connection, okay, and it says that certificate is valid, okay, and it says that there are some 4 cookies that are used by this particular website, okay. Now it will also give me information, so I clicked on the cookies to understand what are the cookies. So if it gives me 2 things. One of the cookies which were set by IIT.ac.in, okay, and it says some information about created on which date and expires on which date, okay, and the content and some details like that. So it's not something that is quite human readable. All right, so you have Moodle, then Moodle session, then you have local storage, then you have a session storage and information like that. Okay, so yeah, so the main thing that I wanted to show you was the lock. So yeah, so if you press Ctrl L, right, on the browser, you will see that it is actually showing you the URL, but it is showing you an HTTPS URL. Okay, so HTTPS is on 443, right? I'm not quite sure about that. Yeah. So HTTPS is actually available through the port number 443. Okay, now that kind of tells us that okay, now I'll also show you one more thing. Let me take another tab for the terminal. Okay, and I do ns, okay, ns lookup moodle.IIT.ac.in, okay, then I will do a ns lookup dev.IIT.ac.in, okay, then I will do a ns lookup for IIT.ac.in, then I will do a ns lookup for convocation.IIT.ac.in, and so on. And what you can see is that the address that is returned by all of these queries is the same, correct? So all the queries are returning the same address, the same IP address. Okay, and I know that it is on on a computer that is available here in our institute in the second floor in the server room. Okay, where we have actually shifted the computer to. So we have multiple configuration files. So I'm just going to copy this name, and I'm going to just cat what is there in that particular configuration file. So cat moodle.IIT.ac.in. So before even doing that, I'll just show you what is there in IIT.ac.in/.ac.in.conf. So there you can see that there is IIT.ac.in and www.IIT.ac.in, right? So I'm just taking a look at what is there in the cat IIT.ac.in conf. You can see that it is defining something called virtual host, okay, and you can also see that it's somewhat similar to how we would be writing a XML file. I wouldn't say exactly the same, but I would say somewhat similar. Okay, and then you have some other tag directory, okay, and some details regarding what are the things that are available for this particular Apache. So this particular configuration file that you're seeing over here is for an Apache website. I'm sorry, an Apache virtual host, okay, for IIIT.ac.in. So it says that, you know, yeah, there are certain you know, proxy pass match. So if it is not anything that is called convocation, or if it is not anything called convocation guidelines, so let me just try what it means. So I'm just going to, you know, open the, yeah, so I'm saying it, so it says that IIIT.ac.in IIIT.ac.in/convocation. Okay, if you go to that particular page, right, it is taking me to another place. So it says that 31st July 11 a.m. is the convocation, and it was 228 days back. Okay, and the chief guest was Chris Gopalakrishnan. Okay, so you can see that it has taken us to another page, and likewise I have something called convocation video guidelines. Okay, so that has taken you to another page, IIIT.ac.in/convocation video guidelines, right? It says that instructions for video recording, go to rule 0, right? It says background requirements, video requirements, vertical measuring. Okay, it's not available anymore, but there are some pictures, etc., that are there. Okay, and it also mentions like where exactly you are supposed to hold the camera and certain things like that. Now I'll just close this particular thing. So it was in IIIT.ac.in/convocation and /convocation_video_guidelines. Okay, how did I go to those pages? Because I know that I have a regular expression which says that if it is this particular thing, right, then it should not be matched, it should not go there. Okay, otherwise if it is if the resource is just a slash, then you can go to this particular place. Okay, and this is from where this is where you will get the actual website. Okay, so I'm saying, what I'm saying is IIIT.ac.in. Yes, it works. Okay, now I'm just going to do an ls again. Okay, and let's take a look at moodle.IIIT.ac.in. so cat moodle.IIIT.ac.in/conf, and you can see that it has a little bit more of configuration that is mentioned there. Of course, this configuration that you see here is commented, which means that it's a comment, and it was actually listening to the port number 80. 80 is the port where you will get the request for a particular service. Okay, so you get some request in port number 80. So this particular part is commented, so don't read that, it's not important for us. So it says that, you know, yeah, so it's kind of doing two things in this particular configuration. So in the earlier configuration, right, we had this virtual host for IIIT.ac.in which would listen at port number 80, and it would be actually it is actually mentioned, it's saying that the information that is required is probably available in this particular website, I mean in this particular folder, or www.html.IIIT.ac.in. Okay, and when I try to look at moodle.IIIT.ac.in/conf, right, it has mainly you know, 3 sections. One is directory section, require all granted, and it's available in war www.html moodle folder. It's a different folder. Okay, and the other 2 sections, one section is for listening on port number 80, and another section is for working on port number 443, which is the HTTPS port, right? So which means that this is the configuration that is responsible for making the HTTP website into a HTTPS website, or what you think of it as you know, a secured socket layer. right? So it has an SSL certificate, etc. So what you can see here is that we have a server that is listening at port number 80, okay, and the server name is moodle.iitt.ac.in, and it says that whenever we are going to get any request for http moodle.iitt.ac.in, right, it has to be instantly redirected to https://moodle.iitt.ac.in. Okay, and we can see that https actually is for listening on port number 443. So which means that this section is going to forward the request that is coming in port number 80 to this section, which is the SSL or the HTTPS section. So again, it is pointing to the same document root, right, var www html moodle, and I should have configured this with some other email address, a better email address. Anyway, I think I have time for that. And then I have the server name, then the error log, then the custom error log, then it mentions SSL engine on, then it has SSL certificate file, and then SSL certificate key file. So those are the few things that are required for enabling or making a website into an SSL website. So let me show you that again. So moodle.iitt.ac.in, right, and I am going to say that I am going to type http://moodle.iitt.ac.in. You can see that although I tried http://moodle.iitt.ac.in, which was to port number 80, if you press the Ctrl L at this moment, you will see that it has automatically redirected to HTTPS, right, which means that for moodle.iitt.ac.in it is always an SSL it's always a secure connection that I have enabled, correct. So right, so that is how you will okay, so these examples were just to show you the configuration of Apache web server. Okay, now over here let's go back one folder above to /etc/apache2, and this is how I go there, and I do an ls over there, and and there's a folder called conf-available. So we were in the folder called sites-available. Let's go to this conf-available and let's see what is there. So I go to conf-available and I type ls, and it says that there are certain files that are available there, and out of that there's a file called convocation.conf. Wow, what is that? And then there is something called adminer.conf. So let's take a look at what is convocation.conf. So I looked at convocation.conf and it says that alias/convocation, it is pointing to a directory called home anub git important convocation, and same way convocation video guidelines, that is pointing to another directory home anub git important convocation video guidelines. Okay, and you can see that we have already gone to iitt.ac.in/convocation and iitt.ac.in/convocation _video guidelines, correct. Remember this proxy pass match. Okay, so essentially what I am trying to tell you is that all of these things that you see on the internet, on the website that is working, it is some sort of configuration, right? It is just configuration. Students, I just wanted to ask you whether you are having any issues with regards to the video that is being live streamed. Students, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Is the video getting live streamed fine without any trouble?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I am getting some error on YouTube Studio. It's saying that YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. So that's what it is saying. I hope it is fine at this point in time probably, but I don't know why this much of drop frames are actually. I need to probably figure out and fix this issue somehow. Probably it could be a network error over here. Encoding. Okay, it could be a problem on my system as well. Alright, so what I have actually mentioned over here is that we have multiple configurations. It could be the okay. So whenever we go to www.iitt.ac.in, right, we know that it is a website URL that is there, right? And if I have something like placement.iitt.ac.in.conf, right, I know that it is pointing to a subdomain. So over here iitt.ac.in is called the domain, and placement.iitt.ac.in is called a subdomain. Okay, so which means that I have actually hosted multiple subdomains also there in this particular sites available. I want to show you what is there in placement.iitt.ac.in. So you can see that it is now pointing to another folder called home Anoop get important TP, and that is also listening at port number 80. Okay, and certain things are mentioned over there. So I just go to this folder cd get important, and I do an ls and pwd. You can see that the folder is home Anoop get important, and there's something called convocation that's over there. There's something called convocation _ video _ guidelines that's over there. All right, and there's something called convocation form. There's something called IIIT. There's something called training and placement TP. There's something called sudo IDE. Okay, there's something called PhD applications. Okay, and different other softwares like that you can think of. Okay, so this is the IIIT. Just IIIT, right? That's where the dev.iitt website is getting run from. So let's go to IIIT. Okay, and you can see that it contains a node, I think a node based website. Okay, and it's hosted on GitHub. So if I just do git pull, okay, the idea is that this must have actually updated the website right now. Wow, I did not think that the students must have done so much of changes in such a short time. Okay, so I have just done a git pull. Okay, and it has created many things. Okay, and it has also added certain things in the JSON files. Okay, in the JavaScript part, and many other places. Okay. So let's just see whether there's any change that has happened on the website. So I'll just go to dev.iitt.ac.in. My computer is okay, not bad. Yeah, I'll go to dev.iitt.ac.in. I'm not sure whether we will be able to see any visible changes, but of course, I'm not sure what all are the changes that the students have done. But if I want, I can always go and do that with git log, and I can look at git status, etc. Okay. So you can also see that who has done what in this particular website with regards to the changes, etc. Okay. So the entire idea is that how you will create your pipeline to be able to do multiple things on the internet. right? So we have something, we have so far discussed about something called an Apache web server, right? Yesterday I told you that if I type sudo systemctl status Apache 2, I think yeah, it will tell me that this particular Apache web server is running. Now if I go there and I just do a stop, okay, I just stop the Apache web server. Let us try to see what happens. I refresh the website dev.iitt.ac.in. You can see that it says that the site can't be reached. dev.iitt.ac.in refused to connect. Okay, and I am trying to go to iitt.ac.in, even that is refusing to connect. I am trying to go to iitt.ac.in/convocation, even that that is working. And how is that possible? Video guidelines. Wow, that is working. That is pretty strange. Is it because it is working with a configuration? Let's try moodle.iitt.ac.in. Yeah, it says that the site can't be reached, and ideally the other configuration should also have not worked, but I'm not quite sure. But because one is actually created by a configuration and another one is created by a site available virtual host configuration file. Okay, so let me just check what is the status of the Apache server. It says service loaded, inactive, dead. Okay, right. So I have to anyway start it, right, because I can't keep it off for a long time. Of course, I did that because I know nothing important is happening on the institute website today. I mean to say nothing important as in there's no PhD applications that is going on. There's no deadline for today or anything. So the number of requests for today would be less as well. So now I have enabled the Apache web server, and you can see that I am now going to iitt.ac.in. So now I will just show you something. I am going to the folder war http war www HTML, and I go to the folder called Moodle. Okay, you can see that when I typed ls over there, it says that there are certain PHP files, correct? There are certain PHP files like index.php, help.php, help_ajax.php, and certain things are there. Now what that means is that this Apache web server, right, has also has okay, Apache web server, Apache server is another entity. So let me try to draw a picture for you to put it all together, so that you will be able to create a mental map of what we mean. Let it load, just a second. It has not finished loading. Students, you should actually go through the video tutorial that I have shared with you, and do not think that that will cover everything that you need to learn to be able to host a website with PHP. Okay, that is not correct, because for example, when I started working, I mean, of course, I did all of these things as part of my hobby. Okay, it was not part of any coursework, it was not part of any job, or it was not part of anything. It was just my interest that I wanted to try out certain things, and I just kept doing certain things, and that's how I learned all of these things. Like for instance, Apache configuration, or for that matter, a PHP website creation, etc. Okay, so I sometime back in the year 2006 or 7, I have written a PHP website which was similar to what you call as a URL shortening website. Like you heard of tiny URL, right? So I had written a website called Hack URL, HACK URL. So similar to tiny URL. So it is hackurl.com, and you can actually enter any particular link, website link. Okay, so it can be a very long link. You can enter that. You can go to hackurl.com and you can paste your link over there. It will return you a token. So it will tell you something like http .colon/hackurl.com/1. Okay, so when you type hackurl.com/1, it will go to your website that you have pasted there, and if you type 2, it will go to another page. Okay, and so on. Okay, now what I wanted to show you was, can I make it landscape? This is now in the portrait mode, right? So how do I change it into landscape properties? I guess it is. General, custom properties. No, I can't. Okay, I do not find that very easily. So yeah, so what I'm going to show you here is we have okay, so this can be thought of as a client, okay, which has a web browser. Okay, and over here we have okay, this is our server. Okay, server contains the Apache web server. Okay, listening on a particular port. Standard ports are 80 and 443 for HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, so that's your Apache web server, and now Apache is just going to serve the pages. Okay, and now you want something like the server side scripting. That is where you have PHP, okay, or Ruby, or okay, PHP, Ruby, Python. Okay, you can have other programming languages like Golang. Okay, you can have other programming languages like C as well if you want. Okay, so you have different server side scripting languages, and then you have something like a database server, which can be either MariaDB, or it can be MySQL, or it can be PostgreSQL. Okay, so or it can be the Oracle database, and different things like that. Okay, so which means that a server is actually a stack of software. Okay, a server is actually a stack of software. So obviously we have learned, right, in between about the web technology. And in the web technology, we learned that, you know, if you want to create a website or a web page, right? A web page is generally containing an HTML part, a JavaScript part, CSS part, Ajax part, right, and many other things. These were all the client side things. Or what do you mean by client side? It means that it's just going to get rendered by the client web browser. And for this server, we have certain things like the Apache web server, the server-side scripting language like PHP, Ruby, Python, Golang, C, and then database server, etc. So in this regard, right, I want to show you something. So I'm going to search on the Google how to install LAMP on Debian. I'm not sure whether you have heard about it, but it's quite possible that certain students have heard of it. Okay, so LAMP stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. PHP or Python it could be. And MySQL has been, you know, made the later version. I mean, the MySQL's latest release is something called MariaDB. Okay, so LAMP, L-A-M-P, LAMP stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, right? So these are the 4 things that you're going to install on a particular computer, so that you will be able to you know, use it. So for example, okay, so let's think about it. So this particular box that you are seeing over here, right, this particular box that you are seeing over here, where I have logged in and checked whether, you know, this particular service is running, etc., which is on iitt.ac.in, which is our web server. You can see that I have installed a particular software called Debian GNU Linux on that. Okay, the Debian is a distribution, and you can just take a look at you know, my own computer. So I am just going to do the same thing on my computer. So this tab on the left side is the server on the server, and this tab on the right side is on my computer. And you can see that I'm using the same exact operating system that the server is running. It's a Debian GNU Linux 10 Buster. It means that, you know, the graphical user interface on the server can be slightly different, etc. Okay, now UFW, let me try /sbin UFW/list. I think, is that correct? No, I think it has to be status. Okay, I need to run it as root. So yeah, so it says that, you know, this is something called a firewall. So so when I wanted to run this system, right, at our institute, when I came to the institute, all I was given was a you know, just a metal box which has a CPU, which has a RAM and certain things inside. It has nothing configured over there. Okay, it has nothing configured over there. That is the ground reality. There's nothing configured there. No operating system. Website is running on NIT-Trichy's web server somewhere, and to be able to update something on our website is many days task, because you need to get in touch with the person who is actually managing the website on the NIT-Trichy's web server, etc., and certain things like that. And at our end, we did not have a you know, a firewall, a hardware firewall or anything like that. But and then, you know, I had to install and get all of these things running, and you know, have certain things, you know, certain things like, okay, made ready. Okay, so many things were to be done. Okay, so let me just show you, like for instance, I told you about something, how I was able to do it, right? So let me just show you. This computer is pretty slow. Okay. Let me save this. Computer froze, I guess. Am I still audible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just hold on for a moment, and until the computer loads, perhaps. Okay, where do I save this? Courses, and this is web technology. Right, I'll just close this, and I think I can exit out of this particular. Okay, so what you can see over here, right, from the UFW list, you can see that I have opened certain ports and I have closed certain ports. I might have added those to test it at some point in time, okay, and then I later denied those ports. And so which means that only few ports are available, and I should this is actually helping me to get away from different kind of attacks, etc. Okay, so it will the websites will be available only on certain ports. Just a second, I will So I had searched about how to install the LAMP. Remember what is LAMP? LAMP, right? It's an acronym for a software stack that includes Linux, Apache web server, right? Okay, Linux, Apache web server, and I told you it was earlier stood for MySQL, but MySQL has been replaced by something called MariaDB, and then a PHP web scripting language. So that is what LAMP stands for. Okay, so if you what I have searched on the internet right now is how to install LAMP on Debian. Okay, or else you can install how to install LAMP on Ubuntu. Okay, and it will tell you what are the things that you need to do. So let's just take a look at what are the things that needs to be done. Say for example, we have this is a very simple thing to update your repository and upgrade the existing software. After that first step is done, they go to the second step, which is to install the Apache's web server. Okay, and then it says about updating the firewall, right, and to be able to open port number 80 and 443. Okay, so you have first is you have installed Apache, then you do something on the firewall, okay, and then you do something on the MariaDB server, that is to install the MariaDB server, and then you have to look at something called MySQL secure installation. I told you MariaDB is actually an updated version of the MySQL database software only. So it still uses a lot of commands that are coming from MySQL. So we do a MySQL secure installation, and then you have to install the necessary modules for PHP. So let's take a look at what this is. So it says you have to install install something called lib apache 2 mode php, which means that the Apache software, the Apache web server and the PHP, if it has to work together in sync, then you have to have a particular module that is for Apache 2, and this is how you will install it. And then you have to have certain things for PHP. So let's just take a look at what is PHP GD. Just a second, hold on. You know why I am telling you, I mean why I am giving you a lecture like this? Of course you know that the reason why I am giving you a lecture like this is to tell you that the things that you are looking, right, is not available perhaps from one particular place, or the things that you are looking at, right, it's not just one single thing, but it is an amalgamation of multiple software tools and multiple systems that work in synchronous to be able to create a website or a web service for you. I'm trying to open the terminal, but unfortunately, yeah, okay, it has opened up finally. So I have to do app cache policy PHP GD. Okay, so I just wanted to see what exactly is PHP GD. Of course, on my system it is not installed. Okay, app cache search PHP GD. GD module for PHP. Okay, so it's a module anyway, and then you have the PHP MySQL module also. So I told you that in between, right, when we were writing about server, told you Apache web server is there, then the database server is there, the PHP software is there, right? All of these things together makes your thing working. Okay, now then it says about, it gives you details about what are the things that happens when you run different commands and when you okay. So you can actually look into the details about all of these things to be able to understand how and what are the things that happens here. Okay, so that you will be able to finally make a working website. Okay. You have multiple other other modules also that you may have to install. Okay, so for example, in my case I have installed something called proxy and different other things, otherwise it may not work. Okay, so this one, right, is one of the most simplest PHP info commands that you can use for a particular PHP script. Okay, so let's try to is it a good idea to show it on the web server? Not sure, but yeah, let me copy this. Okay, and I'm going to, let me see whether my website is my Apache web server is working on my computer. This is quite unfortunate, I have a laptop which is not supporting most of the basic computational things. Yeah, so 127.0.0.1 points to the it's a local loopback address. It's called a loopback address. And so it says that the Apache default page is available. So I'm going to do one thing, sudo emacs minus nw, because I do not want the graphical user interface to pop up and then take more time for it to do everything. I'm just going to var www/html/testphp.php. okay, I have that's the file that I want to create. Okay, so I just created that file, and to enter my password, because I'm running it as sudo. Oh wow, that was a password, different password. This itself is taking such a long time. Seriously, this computer has some trouble. Is your next class started, or don't you have a class today? Okay,
We
Actually, it
have
was
a class.
rescheduled.
it has been rescheduled. Okay, so yeah, so just take a look at what I have done. I have just created a file called testphp.php, and I'm just going to type /testphp.php. okay, because I know that that is the folder where it will look for. Okay, it may not get executed, or it may get, yeah, it got executed. Okay, so it may get executed depending on how it has been configured. So okay, now you can see that it is it gives you multiple information about the particular PHP version that is installed on this computer. Okay, and it also gives you Apache 2 handler details like Apache 2.4.38 Debian, and it tells you the host name and the port name. Okay, and it gives you the certain other details, and you should understand that this Apache configuration viewing is not actually enabled on all the web servers, and that is because you do not want to give out certain key information through this. Okay, because it contains it gives you a lot of information about the particular system that you are going to work with. Okay, so I'm just you can see that it kind of tells you the details about different aspects of your system. Okay, because the PHP environment is definitely going to use a lot of information, right? Say for example, if you print the variables, right, that is for making this current connection. You can see that there's something called server HTTP host, and its value is 127.0.0.1, right? And server HTTP connection, keep alive. Server HTTP details like Chromium, Google Chrome. Are we on a mobile? Are we on what is the platform that we are using? Okay, and it says Linux. HTTP upgrade insecure request, and then it tells you something like HTTP user agent. This is very important, right? You must have come across this user agent from multiple places. So the user agent is Mozilla 5.0. Okay, Chrome. This is the user agent, and the HTTP accept. Okay, and server software, server signature, path. Okay, so path is going to give information about where you can find the executable files, right? Server name, server address, server port, remote address, document root, okay, request scheme, context prefix, server administrator, okay, script file name, remote port. So you can in general understand that a lot of things can be done with PHP, which means that it will allow you to read the details about the web browser or the mobile phone that client is using when they are accessing a particular website, etc. Okay, and there are more things, like for instance, just let me scroll up and let me press Ctrl F4. I think this is probably not a very good way to search for it. Yeah. So there's something like the core over here, and you can see that there's something called upload max file size. Okay, and this is actually a configuration that is actually mentioned. So you can see that local value and master value. Okay, so which means that if I have not set up an upload max file size, then by default it will take 2 megabytes. Okay, if I want, I can actually change it. Say for example, if I am writing a tool to like a YouTube like website that I am writing, so I must give users the ability to upload files of the size maybe 3 gigabytes or 4 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes as well, right? So which means that if I keep my upload max file size to be 2 megabytes, then it will fail. So which means that I need to be able to change this configuration in PHP itself. So this is one place where you will have the configuration for the file size. You can also have configurations in your there's something called okay. Okay, so I have shown you something called, I'm searching for something called HT access. Okay, how do I know this? Because I've worked with this. I had to look at these things because I told you, right, back in 2006 or 7 when I was in my so 6 I was in semester 4, so semester 6 it would be of my BTech. I have written a PHP website which is used for URL shortening. Okay, and I had to look into different aspects of the particular website. Okay, and this file called htaccess, or it's called a .htaccess file. Okay, it's a file. In Apache is a tool that allows configuration at the directory and subdirectory level. Okay, using .htaccess enables you to configure website permissions without altering server configuration files. Okay, so if I want to work with some configurations for a particular website and I do not have access to the entire server configuration. So for example, I told you yesterday that hosting. So I hosted this particular website on GoDaddy.com, and GoDaddy.com at that time was giving we purchased the the cheapest server hosting, shared hosting, and it does not allow us to do a lot of configurations on the server as a whole. So you can't do it like how you do it with a virtual private server or a dedicated server, etc. It's a shared hosting, so which means that you have to do a lot of tweaks and workarounds to figure out what is to be done, etc. Okay, so you can actually wait 2 minutes. Okay, so you can see that at some place you have definitely seen this thing, right, in our configuration, in our .conf, in the sites available, right, and you can see that there are certain configurations that are available by default. Okay, and say for example in this one they are telling how to enable the Apache HTTP okay. So once we have that, let's say this is our website where we are going to host all our information files. Okay, so with the htaccess files and the ht password file, okay, you will be able to do a lot of small things, not small things but major things with your websites. Okay, you can allow certain IP addresses, you can deny certain IP addresses. Okay, you can deny requests from certain IP addresses, etc. You can block the visitors by referrer. Okay, and you have certain rewrite conditions. Okay, so I had to use this rewrite condition also. Okay, so this is a rewrite engine on. Okay, so this rewrite conditions, right, what I mentioned, why did I have to probably use it? Okay, so I told you, right, hackurl.com/1, that is the URL that is going to be given to you if you want to so if you have given me a long URL, okay, and I have given you a URL called hackurl.com/1. so over here, right, this one that I am passing is actually what is actually a parameter that I am passing. This is no longer up there, okay, because this one was something that I had done when I was a student, and later on we didn't follow any of those things. I went for my higher education and blah 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 blah. So I didn't do any of these things later. Okay, and so since I was the only person, it was just mainly hobby. We lost it. Yeah. So yeah, hackurl.com/1. Okay, so it will take you to a particular website. It will be like question mark name is equal to value. So it would be something like this. So this value is 1 over here, which means that I have to omit, which means that there is something called URL rewrite that is happening over there. Okay, so that is done. And next is something like I want to be able to differentiate between small a and capital A in this particular URL, because if I give it is case insensitive, which means that I cannot differentiate between small a and capital A and capital B. Okay, so I need this small a, capital B thing to be going to site number 1 and this thing to be going to another site. So how do I do that? For that I have to make this case sensitive. And how is that done? So these are all done with the htaccess and the other configuration files that I am just showing you over here. Correct? Okay, so yeah, so we have there are different ways, as I told you, different things that you need to do, be able to different things that you need to be do to be able to host a website or host a range of services on and it has to work in a particular way. Correct? So for the URL shortening service that I have just mentioned to you, I have given you an example that I had to do some rewrites so that hackurl.com/1, instead of actually giving it as a get request with the value and parameter like that. Okay, so for example, nowadays we know that if we go to moodle.iidt.ac.in, okay, it will take us to particular. Okay, let's take a look at the URL schemes. That is very important. Okay, say I am going to click on login. വരാടാ മക്കളെ, ഒരു മിനിറ്റടാ, ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് വരാം. Okay, so I'm just clicking on login, and you can see that it has taken me to moodle.iitt.ac.in/my, and if I click on web technology, right, it will show me something like view.php ? Oh, by the way, when I told you, right, hackurl.com//1, it actually meant I'm going to, let's say, index.php ? Then property value, right? So this is the entire URL that was getting redirected or getting rewritten as just 1 or XYZ. Okay, so which means that on the PHP script at my web server, I will get this XYZ as the property value, and then I will work on that. Okay, so right, so here you can see a website which is $ID is equal to 73. If I click on CT1, you can see that it is going to go to mode assign view.php id is equal to 1590 and so on. So that's another URL scheme. Okay, so so what exactly did we learn today? We learned about the hosting and the stack of Apache and PHP and MySQL. Okay, and we have written a very simple PHP example over here in this particular website. Okay, and that is where we have to get started with, but I have already shared you a detailed video about PHP tutorial. I want you to go through it so that you see, I cannot teach you. It is you who have to learn all the time. If you want to write a particular web server, then you have to pick up a problem statement and start writing that particular software with whatever programming language that you want. I can only give you guidance, or I can probably tell you these are the things that would be good to be done. Okay, so this is an example of a very simple PHP web request. Okay, now, okay, I want to give you the next assignment. So for that, let me I want to give you the next assignment. So those students who have not submitted the assignment number 1, please try to submit it. Of course, there will be a late submission penalty, but it is better than not submitting at all. So for the assignment 2, right, I want teams of 2 or 3 students. Okay, pick a problem which includes, which also has some database component. So obviously the URL shortening system, right, that I mentioned, right, the URL shortening system I mentioned, it has definitely a database component, right, and it's a very simple thing, but I wouldn't say it's quite simple. It you know, you have to put in some effort. That's the only thing, you have to put in effort. If you do not put in effort, you are never going to be able to do that. So yeah, so pick a problem which also has some database component. Okay, we mention the problem to me in a problem statement, solve the problem. Example can be photo album, URL shortening service. It can be even Twitter if you want to create, okay, or anything like that. So assignment 2 maximum is 3 students, but you need to justify and tell me who is going to do what when you are going to create the teams. So 2 or 3 students, maximum is 3, 2 would be ideal. I would say 1 would be the best, but I do not want to give you that tough thing that I am not sure whether everybody would be able to pick up as I expect. Okay, it would be ideal if you can do it as a single person team. You will create one, you will pick up a problem statement, solve a problem. Okay, it can have photo album, it can be a URL shortening service, it can be a Twitter. So you can use a lot of things over there, right? You need to have the LAMP stack, you need to have the HTML and other JavaScript, CSS, right, Ajax and other things. No, class illa ipo kalikelle. Wait a minute. Okay, so you have this is your assignment number 2. So you have to have a team of 2 or 3 students. I would say single person or team of 2 or maximum 3 students. Okay, so please inform me about your project by Friday. Okay, the teams, your project, your problem statement, etc. All right, students. Do you have any doubts regarding what we have discussed? If you have no doubts, then I would suggest that I will leave. Students, do you have any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is your
Sir, Shubham
assignment.
is having a doubt.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Shubham Bhagat. Is LAMP stack compulsory? No, you can use WAMP also. So WAMP stands for Windows, Apache, MySQL and PHP. I think you can use Nginx web server also, but you have to use PHP. Okay, and you can use MySQL or PostgreSQL, but definitely SQL engine. You don't use NoSQL and Firebase or something like that. Okay, not possible. So no Firebase, no SQL and such things. You have to use MySQL or PostgreSQL or MariaDB, and instead of L you can use W if you want, or you can use Macintosh as well. I don't care. So any questions? Any other questions? If that is it, I'll leave, students. Today my daughter also came with me to the institute, so she has been calling me for something. But yeah, if you have any questions, I will wait and I'll take that and then I'll leave. Okay, I guess there are no questions, there are no further queries. So what I will do is I'll just copy the whole thing and send it by the chat. So please do inform me about the teams and the problem statement, and definitely you need to inform me what are the things that you guys are going to look into. Obviously you may not know everything upfront, okay, so you will have to do it slowly as you go ahead as well. Okay, And there can be certain, if one or two teams want to work on photo album and something like that, do get in touch with me, because I might be able to give you some simple problem statements, very simple problem statements, which are interesting as well. Okay, that's it guys. So I'll stop presenting and I'll leave. Why not?